Do you love the Tabernacle Choir? This year, the choir's music is everywhere you are. Listen to your favorite choir songs and music and the spoken word anytime you want on Alexa by simply enabling the skill.
Alexa, play music in the spoken word.
Now playing music in the spoken word.
You can also download the Tabernacle Choir app, subscribe to the choir on YouTube, listen on Spotify, and have access to all their wonderful music. Happy listening.
Queen Carvania stood haloed by the morning sun. An army hung on her every word.
My champions, I have sold my chariot on Carvana. 'Twas a lovely SUV, an inexplicably queenly offer. They're even coming to the castle to collect it. Tonight, we feast! An offer you can feast on. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
Not only do these guys give you the best jazz coverage in the market, they've got you covered with the Mammoth, the Cougars, the Utes, and the Aggies. This is Jay Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson. Man, things have been busy in the jazz world, Ben. We knew it was going to be wild. It's been even more so, and I'm eager to get the thoughts on it all with our very next guest. Of course, he's the radio play-by-play voice of the Utah Jazz, the one and only David Locke. Hi, David. Happy Independence Day to you.
Happy Independence Day to you. The NBA is gone bonkers. It is. I'm not entirely sure the Jaylen Brown trade might not be close to as bad as the Luka Doncic trade, by the way.
Wow. Well, let's start there. We commented on how the Jazz reportedly got more for Kessler than the Celtics got for Brown.
Yeah. So Boston's up 3-1 against Philadelphia, right?
Right.
And on that day, they were the favorite to win the Eastern Conference, which turned out to win the NBA title. And then, Embiid came back and weird stuff happened, and they ended up losing. So on a gap year, the former NBA champions, previous NBA Finals team, or close to, because Tatum got hurt first, but NBA champions were the favorites. And then they were up 3-1, still the favorite. So that was what? Probably May 10th? And 50 days later, they just punted on all championship opportunities? That's crazy.
It certainly felt like a team that either thought it was at the end of its run, as is, or yes, obviously Jaylen Brown's name leaking in back-to-back years, and of course with the Giannis trade. Here's what I don't understand, David. How do you let Jaylen Brown's name get associated with the Giannis trade and then not finish the Giannis trade? I can't believe that it was going to be that irreparable if you weren't going to say whatever it takes, we're going to get it across the finish line. And if they were ready to be done with Jaylen Brown, then just be done with him.
So I'm with you 100%. 100%. The only thing I can think of, so I generally have a rule on this. When your default is, well, they're just idiots, they're probably not. Most of the guys in this league, and they're all men, are pretty smart. They're not all men, but virtually all of them are, right? They're pretty smart. People, and frankly, one of the smartest people I know is Allison Feaster, who's in the Celtics front office. So there's a woman. So guys and men. Or women and men. When you just default, well, they're just an idiot. That's not the answer. There's something else going on. So, because the answer to your question, Ben, is, yeah, they just totally, screwed it up, and they're idiots. But the only thing I wonder is, did Milwaukee not want Jaylen Brown? Or did Milwaukee take Jaylen Brown for a run around the block and found out they couldn't get anything other than Paul George and 2 first-round picks? And so they decided that the Miami package was actually better. But I'm with you 100%. If Boston had a chance to close the Giannis deal and they didn't do it because of Baylor Shireman or Hugo Gonzalez or one extra pick or something like that was a terrible mistake.
How about the rock group theory, David, that, it always comes down to who gets the credit for the success of, Led Zeppelin? Is it Jimmy Page or is it Robert Plant? And with every great rock group, it seems to come to a head and it cannot exist any further. And I don't know, through that lens, you look at Jaylen Brown saying this was his favorite year, and the guy's always had a chip on his shoulder and probably thinks he's just as good, if not better, than Jason Tatum, and the situation has just gotten out of hand.
So I'm sure that if Austin Ainge is listening right now, or Justin Zanuck, or Bart Taylor, or Marquise, or Katie, or someone in our front office, or Sean, they're going to tell me I'm full of crap. But that's what the organization's job is. That's my take.
Yeah, right. I agree.
Let's say Luka Doncic did drink too much, and Luka Doncic didn't work out enough, and Luka Doncic did all the things that Dallas nastily threw out about him. And let's say that all the things are being said about Jaylen Brown right now that the Boston Mafia media is throwing out there to protect their guy Brad Stevens and the beloved leprechaun of the Boston Celtics and a very Celtic-heavy NBA media right now. Let's say they're all true. That's what the organization's for. That's your job. Your job is to get through that as an organization. That's literally your job. That's what the organization's there for. That's my take.
David, I know there's some limitations on how exactly to talk about this, but the Jazz and they've not finished a deal, but reportedly sending Walker Kessler to the Los Angeles Lakers for 2 unprotected picks and 2 swaps. It's a pretty big haul, no question about it. I still would suspect that if the Jazz could have gotten Walker Kessler at the 5-year deal they offered him initially, that would have been the preference. So what do you think about having continued flexibility, which part of me says, man, Ace Bailey, Darren Peterson, and 2 unprotected picks from another team going forward is pretty sweet for 4 or 5 years down the road. But I do think there's some urgency to try to win now.
So I think that there's a lot of urgency to win now. And there are a bunch of things that have to happen down the road. And, when the first hurdle was going to be how you re-sign Walker and how you re-sign Keontae, and under what parameters you can do that while still having Jaren and Lowry on the roster. But you also have an incredible luxury that Darren Peterson and Ace Bailey are on controlled cost. And what we just learned about the Spurs is when you got a bunch of guys on controlled cost, you can really win. And that's what Oklahoma City did. They had guys on controlled cost, and they went and won. So when you have players that are really good that are under controlled cost, that's when you've got to go win. And I think that's part of the new model in the NBA. Now, New York did it otherwise. New York got their veterans together and did it. But if you kind of look at what teams are doing right now, there's some crazy numbers about how young everybody is in having success in the playoffs recently. And I'll see if I can find it. I wrote them down the other day. I'll see if I can find it for you. But and so I think the way you win in this league has changed with the new collective bargaining agreement. And so I think there is, there were only of the top 25-minute guys in the playoffs this year. There were only 2 of them that were 32 years or older. Tobias Harris and James Harden. Of the top 50 minutes guys, there were only 5 of them that were 32 years or older. So the league's getting faster with more ground to cover, and younger players are playing, and I think younger players with fixed costs are more important than ever before. And so your window to win is when you have young players under fixed costs. And it's before you have to pay them or before your guys get to be 32 or over. So, it's right now is a very important time for the Utah Jazz to try to win basketball games.
So with that in mind, how aggressive do they need to be to find a new solution at center?
Well, if the reports are true, the timing seems to have been inopportune or unfortunate. Because there were 2 really good choices, Robert Williams, who re-signed in Portland, and Mitchell Robinson, who signed in Boston, that could have slid into mid-level exceptions and have signed. So who's, Kata had a pretty good year in Boston last year out of nowhere. Who's the Kata out there that nobody knows about? To win in the league last year, you did two things really well. You protected the rim and you defensive rebounded. You didn't allow people to get to the rim and you defensive rebounded. And we just got to make sure we can still do that. And if you look at all the teams that denied shots at the rim, and then also, I mean, not only denied them, we denied them, and then but once they got there, they scored every time, or 78% of the time, or something ridiculous. Who actually could really defend the rim, right? So you got to the rim and you didn't finish. If you look at that number on either Cleaning the Glass or NBA.com, I think it's Detroit, it's San Antonio, it's Oklahoma City, I think it was Boston. Like, it's all the best teams in the NBA. There's a real trend there. And then you look at the best defensive rebounding teams in the NBA, they're all the best teams in the NBA. So, Jaren Jackson's weakness as a center, and one of the reasons why I don't think a lot of people projected him to play center is defensive rebounding. And so how do we build this team to be a good enough rebounding team if Jaren's going to be playing some center? And then how do we make sure we can really protect the rim still? But, that's why true 7-footers get paid an awful lot of money.
David, 1 o'clock on Saturday, we're going to see Cam Boozer suit up for the Memphis Grizzlies going against Adai Mara in the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's actually a pretty fun matchup. And then 3 o'clock, Darren Peterson makes his debut for the Utah Jazz against Kingston Flemings, another very fun matchup. What are you looking for? What are you excited to watch on Saturday?
On those guys that we're talking about, I do think it's worth remembering, like, they haven't played 5-on-5 basketball since March, right? The draft process does not help them get ready for Summer League. It's often why we've seen so many guys have tough starts to Summer League, and then they mean nothing. So I would just kind of throw that out there that, Donovan was obviously great that day, but there's also a lot of guys, like Darren and Cameron haven't played since Kansas lost, and I don't know who they lose to. They beat St. John's and then lost to somebody else, or they lose to St. John's?
They lost to St. John's.
And then, Duke hasn't played since the kid hit Cameron hasn't played a game since the kid hit the crazy shot. And you just don't play any 5-on-5. You don't play a lot of basketball during the draft process. I think the thing with Darren is I think the goal to come out of this is too coachy for what people want to hear, but the goal is to figure out, what are the things that I need to work on between when my Summer League schedule ends and October 1? What's that going to be? And so the only way to know that is to be super aggressive in Summer League. And I know he didn't have a lot of assists in college. I'll worry about his passing in October. Go be aggressive. Go to the basket. Drive. Take shots. Figure out where you can get things. Be super aggressive. Shot a minute. I don't care. Let them fly. Because that's how you're going to figure out what you need to do between when your Summer League comes to an end and when you take the floor in October.
David, sorry to take you back to the Kessler thing real quick, but I was curious to your thoughts on his fit in L.A. and specifically his fit in L.A. at that price point.
Well, one thing I'd be fascinated about is that Walker's, if in fact these reports are true, I'll just say this in general in Walker's career, actually, that regardless of what's true or not true or reported or not true, to this time, Walker has not been a good pick-and-roll big. Now, the Jazz don't run a lot of pick-and-roll. They run a lot of off-ball. And Walker has not played with very many good guards, right? He played with a young Keontae and some Isaiah Collier, and he hasn't played with a very good guard. But he has not been a good pick-and-roll big. He came to the league on his tippy toes and did not set picks very well. He got a little bit better over the years when he's, last year he didn't get to play much. And so he's going, if in fact that's true, to play with two of the three best pick-and-roll guards in the NBA, in Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic. Are they so damn good it doesn't matter who the big is? Because actually that's how it seemed in most of Luka's career. It just hasn't mattered. Is there a real skill that Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively and some of these other guys have had that we'll see? I think that'll be very interesting to see, because that has not been Walker Kessler playing pick and roll with a good guard has not happened in his career yet. Up to this point, Walker has not been a very good pick and roll big. So that will, if that changes and he ends up playing with good guards, I think that will be very interesting to see how he deals with it. He's a little vertical, so that when he's rolling the lane. If he gets bumped, he doesn't make it all the way to the rim the same way some other guys are more powerful. He's obviously way stronger than he used to be. So it'll be interesting to see. But he also, Austin Reeves was the number one pick and roll guard in the NBA 2 years ago, and Luka Doncic was the number one pick and roll guard for the 4 years prior.
Who's had a good summer?
It's crazy, right? Well, I thought we had. I don't think anyone in the West has gotten better. There's no one right now, if you told me in the West we're a lot better than they were a year ago, other than our Jaren Jackson deal, that I would just say, San Antonio, maybe. I like Tobias Harris. I think that's an upgrade. Oklahoma City's done what they need to do, but they're not better, right? Denver's sitting still right now and has a Nikola Jokic contract offer that seemingly is on the table that he has not signed. I think he's been eligible for an extension for 2.5 weeks. I'd be really scared if I was in Denver, particularly because if reports are true, the LA Lakers now have a really good contract. They can sign for Nikola Jokic, trade for Nikola Jokic in 12 months. Just a thought. Mm-hmm. Minnesota's interesting, and I think they did what they could do, understanding how hamstring they are. But I actually don't buy the LaMelo Ball stuff. I like LaMelo Ball an awful lot. I think he's a great talent. But the truth is that Charlotte was good because they were an offensive rebounding team last year. Charlotte's half-court offense was 19th in the NBA. They were the second-best offensive rebounding team and the second-best team in the league on putbacks. You know who ran more than Charlotte last year? Minnesota. Yeah, LaMelo Ball's plus-minus are awesome. Who's their backup point guard? Right. So thank God his plus-minus was good because we don't even know who was playing the other minutes.
Wasn't it Colin Sexton?
It'll be Io DeSumo. Now with Minnesota, which is a
right,
good
but
plus.
I'm saying everyone's basis of why LaMelo's so great is because the Charlotte offense was 10 points per 100 possessions better when he's on the floor. That only is a statement of how gosh awful your backup is, not how great LaMelo is.
Sure.
So I don't know that I think Minnesota got a lot better, particularly if LaMelo's his ankles are questionable. The Lakers got better, if the reports are true, but they lost LeBron, and LeBron's a top 30 player in the NBA. And they're god-awful slow. Right? Aren't people just going to run them up and down the floor?
And Luka needs to be bought in.
We got baby watches. We got baby races at halftime that are faster than Austin Reeves, Luka Doncic, and Sando Muskizavili. Seriously. It's not like Quentin Grimes is an elite athlete in the NBA to me either. And Colin Sexton will have J.J. Redick in a penitentiary by February.
Those babies are pretty fast.
Right.
Those babies can fly.
Clippers are not better.
No.
It doesn't matter.
Sacramento?
I think Sacramento and Memphis actually might have gotten a little bit better, but it doesn't matter.
Right. So who in the West is better?
Is Dallas better, would you say? They get Kyrie back.
Yeah, that's a big deal if he's all right. That's a big deal. I mean, they're still funky. That roster's weird.
It is weird.
And Derek Lively may not be able to play basketball again. There's something weird going on there.
Which is really sad.
Yeah.
Who are we forgetting? Anyone? Houston is better just because Fred VanVleet's back?
No, this was a good offseason for the West because a lot of talent stayed east or went east. Kawhi going east is good for everybody.
Well, in the East is Miami's better, Toronto's better.
Yeah.
Philadelphia's better.
Boston's worse. New York's worse.
Yeah, New York's worse.
But wait, Boston's worse unless Tatum can actually come back and play. Then they're probably about the same. Maybe better.
No, with Paul George
Remember,
as opposed to Jaylen
no
Brown.
Jason Tatum.
Well, yeah, they were playing Brown, no Tatum. Now they're Tatum, no Brown.
Yeah, the key is having both of them.
Right, but that's a championship team. But compared to last year's team, they're probably better. If Tatum's at full, actually okay, he may not be. Most guys aren't after an Achilles. And they add Mitchell Robinson, then they're actually better.
Yeah, they're right at the same 54, maybe a couple more wins, however many they ended up winning.
So, Ben, have you done this math yet? Can you pull up the NBA standings?
Yes.
Okay. Let's assume for a second, because of the new tank, I've not done this yet. I'm excited for this. Let's assume because of the new tanking rules that only Milwaukee and I think, is it Brooklyn? That somebody else has their picks.
Brooklyn, yeah.
So those two teams are going to be 2 of the 3 teams relegated. Everybody else is going to try not to get relegated to their single ball. So the low point of wins is going to be like 30 for every other team. Walk me through the bottom 6 win totals of the NBA last year.
Well, I'll tell you what. There are 8 teams that had 26 or fewer, and that's not going to be the case.
Right. That's a lot of wins.
Yeah.
Like what I was going to actually have you do, like for 17, that's 13 more wins. Off the top of my head, just doing it quickly, I think there's like 60 wins that are going to be redistributed from the top to the bottom. So when you used to win 54, if you divide that by 60 by 15, it's 4 wins. You're now winning 50. Like, I think the 4th seed is going to win 50 games.
Yeah, you're right at about 60. I'm 39 plus 11, 50 plus 13 would put you at 63. If everybody got to 30, which is probably a little too rich, because you're right, a couple of teams don't care what their pick is and actually are fine hurting somebody by giving up their draft pick, yes, you probably get to around 55, 60 wins getting dispersed elsewhere or taken away from the top and added to the bottom.
Right. That's kind of like, so when people always ask me, like, how many games did the Jazz win? I'm like, well, they might win 47, and that might be the 5th seed.
I think
the standings are going to be way different next year.
Yeah.
Particularly now, also the amount of teams that are, like, pretty good.
Well, what happens? I'm curious with that race. What happens when you start being too good, and how far do you have to boot games? You know, as we kind of formulate this in our minds. Well, how does the race actually play out? Where all of a sudden do they come back into the 20s because they have to hit the sweet spot? So then all of a sudden you're just changing the time.
There's a race for 28 wins as opposed to 17 wins.
Yeah, right. And then you're just changing the time frame, but teams are still booting games to be in the same range.
So it goes if you're in relegation, you only get 1 ball, right?
2 balls.
2 balls. And then you get 3 balls all the way if you don't make the play-in, right?
From 4 to 14, I think.
Oh, so if you make the play-in and lose, you get your 3rd ball back?
Yes.
So we're gonna have teams throwing the play-in game.
Yes.
Super.
Yes.
I know. That's what I thought too.
Yeah. You can get 1 play-in game if you lose the first play. I can't remember now what it is.
But yes, we will have teams booting the play-in game.
Yes,
technically
that will
you
get 50% better chance by adding another lottery ball by losing a playing game.
It's impossible for the 3 of us to try and diagnose this when we've never seen it happen, and we don't know the effect of the race to get to the odds. I mean, it's so hard to forecast because I don't think this solution fixes tanking. I just think it changes it and changes which teams are tanking. So how do you point to, well, they're just going to win 30 games because they're going to be trying all the time? I think they're still going to try and win 26 games. They're just going to avoid 18. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, so then there's 50 wins instead of 60. But I just think there's a redistribution on that. The one I do think that's going on in the league, and I was trying to play the math on this last night, and it's too complicated for me, and even Claude couldn't get it for me. I think pick swaps are more valuable than they've been before. So,
I agree.
Because you now, by just like, if it just happens to be that both your teams end up in it's just unlikely that both teams are going to end up in the lottery when they're dealing with a pick swap. Because the chances are you just traded something pretty good to somebody, and so therefore they're good, and then your pick swap doesn't come to fruition. I would love to go get some analysis on how many pick swaps have actually ever been swapped. Feels like they're the greatest line of a trade, and they almost never happen, right?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I just don't think that it's just a sign that one team thinks they're going to be winning and the other team thinks they're going to be doesn't know yet. And they're hoping they might be winning when someone swaps. And so I I don't think a lot of swaps come to fruition. And I'm just wondering I guess the scenario here would be no matter what the lottery rules are coming up, which we don't know what they're going to be, if everything's flatter, swaps in theory are more valuable, but it still takes, as of right now, the way the rules are, it takes both teams to be inside the lottery for that to actually kick in, and that seems pretty unlikely.
David, do you think Luka, last question for me, do you think Luka has more control now over the Lakers than he ever did in Dallas? I don't know. I'm curious what you think.
Yes. I think they're running scared of Luka right now. Right now seems like a good time. There's two ways in which you can get franchises in the NBA to make bad trades. Okay, three of them. Hire Joe Dumars. Just kidding. Okay, two of them. That was a joke. Two of them is one is have new ownership that's putting pressure on the GM who's trying to save their job. And two is have a superstar that's putting pressure on the GM. And those are the two scenarios by which GMs get forced into positions where they make deals they might not make otherwise. Both of those scenarios exist in Los Angeles right now.
Never be desperate. That's the lesson. Never be desperate. Do whatever you can. Do not be desperate.
Same rule that worked in 11th grade works in the NBA.
Yep. Nothing worked for me in 11th grade.
Yeah,
so,
indeed.
I don't know.
I'm right there with you. I feel you on that.
David, thank you for coming on. We always appreciate your insight and wisdom.
Happy 4th, David.
Happy 4th to you guys. Keep up the great work.
Thanks, David. We appreciate you. That's our buddy David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz. We appreciate him jumping on with us and crunching through all of this.
I think some players are okay being not in control of a team, but having a say and being responsible and being involved. I don't think that's always a death sentence. You know, LeBron had his real flaws as GM LeBron. A lot of real flaws as GM LeBron. I'm really curious how Luka does it, if he is indeed in this role, and it seems like he kind of is.
I think oftentimes it is a death sentence, and
I would prefer it not be the case always.
If I were a franchise, I'd do everything possible not to empower my star players. And I know that sounds terrible, but look what James Harden did in Houston. I mean, I'd find an example of a success story. Maybe Jalen Brunson, the coup on Tibbs, and then kind of the more player-led kind of thing. I don't know, but usually it ends up in disaster.
Off the top of my head, I don't have a lot of examples of that was a good idea. That guy being more empowered or having some say, or the team bending to his will, resulted in something positive.
Now, this is more of a new phenomenon because, post LeBron, we've seen real player empowerment. So it's not like we can go back to the 80s
correct.
or whatever, because that wasn't a thing. It just wasn't.
No.
So I don't know. But if I were running a team, I would do everything possible to not put myself in that situation, because it just does. It leads to disaster. It leads to desperate moves you wouldn't otherwise do because you're feeling pressure from a player. David's right. It's the perfect storm for the Lakers. That the GM is getting pressure from the player and getting pressure from the ownership, and it leads to bad stuff. It does. They gave up way too much for Walker Kessler. Work or not work, they gave up way too much. I don't even think that's hot takey.
No, everyone agrees with you.
Yeah. All right, more next. Stay tuned. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Just top.
Queen Carvania stood haloed by the morning sun. An army hung on her every word.
My champions, I have sold my chariot on Carvana. 'Twas a lovely SUV, an inexplicably queenly offer. They're even coming to the castle to collect it. Tonight, we feast. An offer you can feast on. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
Your home for the best sports radio for your afternoon drive is right here. This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, these KSL Sports Zone. Independence Day is Saturday. Let's celebrate. Let's give something away, Ben. Caller number 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. You're going to win a Lush flag blanket celebrating America's 250th birthday. Simple, classic, and incredibly soft. The Lush Patriotic Flag Blanket is perfect for celebrating this season in comfort. The plush patriotic design is available in one size and makes a cozy addition to summer gatherings, holiday decor, and everyday lounging. Size to match a standard American flag. It also includes an exclusive America 250 Mickey Couture label created to commemorate the nation's quincentennial celebration. Features the patriotic flag design on both sides of the blanket for a complete look from every angle. Caller number 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE.
Good reading there.
Thank you.
That's a lot. No, it's good. Shout out to Minky.
Yeah,
wrap
we love
yourself up in a Minky Couture blanket.
Very patriotic.
Do it. I'm going to head up to the lake next weekend and wrap myself up in a blanket as well. I've got a Minky up there. So I have a paper bag that I keep next to some oily rags full of aerial fireworks that I will not be firing off because the governor has asked that we don't. And I don't try and put anyone in danger. Can I do poppets? Can I do sparklers? What's banned here? I haven't looked.
I don't know.
Do we know?
I'm sure poppets are fine.
I think poppets are okay.
Unless, I guess you're
But where's the line?
Are you throwing the poppets into a dry field?
Yeah, I'm throwing them everywhere. That's the fun with poppets.
Yeah. Are you standing in the dry field when you're doing your sparkler? Because that's probably not great. But are you on your street while you're doing it? I think you'll probably be okay. I don't think the police will show up to arrest you if that's the case. But alerting everybody to where you are with the ones that go up in the air, probably not good. But people are still going to do it.
Oh, yeah. They were doing it in my neighborhood yesterday. It was great. Full bans, no personal fireworks. Do they have to have a fuse?
Is that law? Or is this just the rec?
I don't know.
I think it's up to individual.
Violations may result in fines of up to $1,000.
Yeah, wow.
Now, this is Heber City. This is where you're actually going to be hanging, right?
Pretty close, yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean, in my neighborhood, we haven't had fireworks that have been allowed for years.
But you guys are close to the up. It's dry up there.
Right. I was driving through Cottonwood Heights, and they definitely have a no firework kind of thing going. I think it might depend on where you're at. But I know the governor did recommend it, but I wasn't sure if they were going to have state troopers out, cracking skulls.
Probably rack up a couple of tickets while you're out.
Okay. Well, be careful out there.
I've got a map. I don't see what all is. I see the map. I don't see which fireworks.
Well, just be safe out there. Don't be like who's the football player, Corin Halfhand? What's his name? Jason Pierre-Paul. Yeah. That really damaged his career by blowing off half his hand.
Yeah, Dodgers fan when they won the World Series last blew up his hand on film. It was horrendous.
Yeah, let's not be safe out there.
Yeah, you're not going to do that with poppets for the most part.
Let's not do any of that. You know what? A nice plush Mickey blanket, not going to start anything on fire.
Well, I see you got them snakes and sparklers, but where's good stuff, man?
Good stuff. This is the good stuff. Snakes and sparklers.
Are you nuts, dude? You need stuff to explode. Go boom. So you're going to tell me that you don't have no black cats, no Roman candles, or screaming mimes?
No.
Oh, come on, man. You don't got no lady fingers, buzz buttles, snicker bombs, church burners, finger blasters, gut busters, zippity doodads, or crap flappers?
No, I don't.
You're going to stand there owning a fireworks stand and tell me you don't have no whistling bungholes, no spleen splitters, whisker biscuits, honky lighters, hoosker do's, hoosker don'ts, cherry bombs, nipsy daisers, with or without the scooter stick, or one single whistling kitty chaser?
No, because snakes and sparklers are the only ones I like.
Not wrong. Snakes and spiders are great.
Sparklers?
Sparklers. I found a list. Trick noisemakers like snappers, poppers, and glowworms. I feel just like, is that Joe Dirt? I feel just like Joe Dirt here. Trick noisemakers like snappers, poppers, and glowworms are exempt from the state's ban. However, those caught illegally discharging fireworks can face fines up to $1,000.
Are you going to be narking out your neighbors?
No. This is a don't ask, don't tell neighborhood I live in.
Is that right? Don't even worry about it.
Mum's the word.
I didn't see anything.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That kind of thing?
I've never even met those neighbors. I keep the blinds drawn. I don't know.
I did see an article in local news on how to dime out your neighbors. I did see that.
It's disappointing.
Oh, I totally dime out my neighbors. Are you kidding? Now, in my neighborhood, absolutely. When I had a newborn, 1,000%.
That's where Christian is.
Yeah, Christian, you dime out your neighbors for sure.
I can't. Not on a 250.
I think you got to yell at them first, though. I think that needs to be the policy.
If it starts coming like, Sunday night, Monday night, then I might think about it. But like Saturday, I don't care.
Yeah.
No? Okay.
250, you're right. It's
Yeah.
the semi-quincentennial.
Mm-hmm.
Also, my neighbor's like 85 and she lives alone. So if there are loud booms coming from her house, I might need to call the police.
You're calling the police for a different
Those aren't
reason.
fireworks.
Right.
Okay. All right. Good times.
Okay.
Well, I'm not going to be lighting anything.
Snappers, poppers.
But
I don't even know what's a glowworm. I thought that was a candy.
you're the firework guy, dude. I don't know. I can't tell you the last time I purchased fireworks.
Husker do's, Husker don'ts.
I've never seen that movie.
You've never seen Joe Dirt?
No, I have not.
Joe Dirt's legitimately funny.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's great.
It's really stupid, but it is, of course, funny.
Did you like Tommy
glowworms
Boy
are
and Black
snakes.
Sheep?
Glowworms are just snakes.
I did like Black Sheep, yeah.
It's similar.
Yeah.
Except for it doesn't have Chris Farley in it.
Right, but David State's pretty funny.
David Spade's
Is he?
pretty funny.
And Kid Rock's funny in it too.
Yeah.
Is David Spade funny? I'm legitimately asking.
No, he is. He is. He's legitimately funny. News Radio was fun. Not News Radio. What was his?
He was not in News Radio.
Not Just Shoot Me.
Just Shoot Me was
that his?
Uh-huh. And I never liked it.
No, I thought it was funny.
You should watch Joe Dirt.
Okay. I'll give it a chance. I might go in with a tainted view, though, because I don't know if David Spade's funny.
Didn't his bodyguard try to kill him? Isn't that the story with David Spade?
To kill David Spade?
Uh-huh.
Like turn on him and kill him?
Yeah, like pulled a gun on him.
No
or
way.
something. Like he woke up in the middle of the night with his bodyguard standing over him.
Man, whatever you did to make that bodyguard mad, that was a mistake.
November 2000, David Spade was violently attacked in his Beverly Hills home by his personal assistant, David Warren, a.k.a. Skippy Malloy.
Oh, it was his assistant. That's totally different.
Malloy broke in while Spade was sleeping, punched him, and used a stun gun before the comedian fought back, escaped to his driveway, and armed himself with a shotgun to deter the assailant.
Okay, do you think there is one personal assistant in Hollywood that doesn't want to do that to their employer?
You're right. When this news story came out, every personal assistant in Hollywood was like, I get it. I totally get it.
Bodyguard's a different thing. Personal assistant, I'm sure he wanted to murder David Spade. I'm sure that was a thing.
I think I assumed this was his bodyguard because I think I've seen a photo of this Skippy Malloy, and he was bigger than David Spade, but everybody's bigger than David Spade.
He's
a tiny person.
Tiny person.
He couldn't shoot a shotgun without like flying backwards like a cartoon character.
Okay. Good segment, Ben. Glad we gave away a blanket. Stay tuned. We'll have more next. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All systems go. This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson. Now, every day from 2 to 6 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It's time to announce a winner. We do this every Thursday for the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week. Today's winner, or this week's winner, John Hollian. And this is what was written in about his nomination. John is an incredible soccer coach to our teenage boys. He cares about them individually and has sacrificed countless hours to build them up as a team and to show each player that he is important. John would go the extra mile and give rides to team players who struggled to get to practice or games. He would also donate extra time and money for players who struggled financially. He has an excellent communication with parents, nominated by the parent of one of his players. That would be Melanie. So thank you, Melanie, for the nomination, and congratulations to John Holian. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But thanks for your great work. Awesome.
Very cool. Again, the effort of everybody to help the youth. My son was just doing a camp, and some adults went, just obviously took the extra step. I'm just like, it's not easy to do. It's just time. It's just your own effort. It's your own money in this situation, and it gives kids a place to belong. So very cool. I really do love this segment.
Yeah, I do too. I love it that we're a part of Beehive, and part of the reason that soccer is the world's game is because it's so accessible. So to hear of a coach going an extra mile for kids who may not have a ton of financial means, I mean, that actually is really a great part about this particular sport.
Yep.
Ben, you grew up on the skateboarding team, which is an incredibly expensive sport. No.
Almost no, not at all. It's nice. It's really good for poor people.
Don't skateboards cost a lot of money?
They cost more now than they used to. A full setup when I was a young person was like $110. Now, I was amazed. I went back to the company I used to skateboard for and was talking to some of the people working there. They said it's almost $300 now. So that's insane to me. But, you don't have to replace most of it very often. You have to replace the deck itself, depending on how good you are. Some people weekly, which gets expensive. But if you're that good, you're probably sponsored already. If you're doing it monthly, which is probably about where I was, it could cost you about $30 a month. But big thank you to the people who took care of me. I would get one deck a month, and that was generally good enough.
What about all the shoplifting and vandalizing?
Well, yeah,
tickets?
the tickets were expensive, and I did get a couple of those.
Yeah, right.
Now, and actually to that point, I thought they were extraordinarily expensive when they were happening to me. In retrospect, it was like $120, which is not fun. And thank you to my parents for paying a couple of skateboarding tickets that I got. That was very nice of them. But I didn't exactly, put the house at risk.
I don't know, Ben.
We weren't going to lose my parents' ability to retire because I got a couple of skateboarding tickets. But I had no concept of that in my day.
We're going to talk to Kobe Price coming up at the top of the 5 o'clock hour. He covers the Lakers for the California Post. He's going to jump on with us. We'll find out how Walker Kessler and that move is being received in Lakerland.
What would you think?
How Laker fans are?
Yeah, what would you... They've got to be over the moon.
Well, I think most of them are pretty excited LeBron's gone.
Okay.
And I think most Laker fans are probably on board with Luka, and Luka needs a center. So I would guess they're fine with it. And by the way, the Lakers have been trading first-round picks. They basically depleting their pick selection every year forever. I mean, it's not anything new.
Correct. And if you're around Luka, for some reason, he just sends first-round draft picks out wherever he goes. In Dallas, they were just sprayed everywhere.
Yeah, that's what LeBron did.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what these win now, quote unquote, win now teams do. They spend future first-round picks on stuff they need immediately. What Locke brought up, and maybe this is worthy of deeper conversation a little bit later, but I think what Locke brought up is totally a concern for if you're looking at it from a Lakers perspective. Walker has not been a pick-and-roll player at all for the Jazz. The Jazz don't run pick-and-roll.
Right.
I mean, they do, but compared to the amount of pick-and-rolls that the rest of the league runs, I think they were last last year. I don't know, Ben, where are our analytic nerds who keep track of all that stuff? But,
low. Probably not last, but low.
But low. That's not their game. And as Locke pointed out, Walker, and especially having played before Keontae's real emergence, has not really played with a strong pick-and-roll guard ever. When you're talking about a rim-rolling big, which is what Luka wants and what he really thrives with, I don't know if that's Walker Kessler. He hasn't done that really.
Not a ton
in his NBA career.
But
so
yes,
I'm
hasn't
not
played
sure.
with great guards to do it.
So yeah, is it the chicken or the egg? But I don't know if he's going to be, Tyson Chandler.
I bet it's more chicken than egg. I bet it's more the guards than Walker's skill set, to be honest. But, the Jazz signed Ed Davis before his gambling problem. But Ed Davis's issue and why he didn't fit with the Jazz was Quinn Snyder's offense was solely dependent on pick and roll.
That's it.
Bigs that rolled to the rim.
And he couldn't do it at all.
He couldn't do it at all. The worst I've ever seen at it. He could not set a screen and then get to the rim. So he was useless, and he was off the team within like 3 weeks.
Yeah, they traded him before the deadline, like long time, right?
Yeah, and I think they waived. Who's the Green?
Jeff Green.
Jeff Green. They waived Jeff Green. I think they're just like, you just go do whatever you want. You don't work here either. Bad offseason for the Jazz that year. But regardless.
Those were Mike Conley's buddies.
Yes, they were. Yeah, they just thought they were getting some good veterans. They weren't. But, yeah, that's going to be a big thing. Locke also brought up that now the Lakers have some salaries to trade, which is interesting. They don't have draft picks to trade. Walker at 40 or at 32 million is a pretty decent number. It would be a much better number if you had that and 2 unprotected firsts to trade with him. If you were going to go try and get a major upgrade somewhere else. I was just thinking about this today. There's not a way they could have figured out a way to get involved with Jaylen Brown. You couldn't have done an Austin Reeves sign and trade with 2 picks for Jaylen Brown? I guess then you don't have the picks to go get Walker.
Wait, though. You were just telling me how in control Luka is. Luka doesn't want that.
No, he probably doesn't.
Why would Luka want to play with Jaylen Brown?
No, he probably doesn't.
Absolutely not. And honestly, if you're just going to give your franchise to Luka, you don't want Jaylen Brown either.
But I do want guys who play defense.
Walker plays defense.
Plays a little defense, yeah.
And you got to have somebody at the rim if Luka's guy is going to blow by him every time.
But, man, it would be nice if they had somebody who could stop you from getting blown by every single time. It's nice to have a last line of defense.
Sure,
but a first line of defense is pretty good, too.
Okay, but that defensive player's only other skill can be standing there and shooting. That's it. You can't have a defensive player who wants to dribble because that's not going to happen. Jaylen Brown had his favorite year of his career because he was initiating the offense and dribbling the whole game. I mean, that's what he wants to. Luka doesn't want to play with that.
No, he doesn't. Luka wants to dribble the whole game.
Well, he's already playing with that kind of with Austin Reeves.
Uh-huh.
So you don't want to add another dribbler in there.
No,
that was the problem with LeBron.
It costs you Austin Reeves. You get Jalen, you don't have Austin Reeves because you don't have the money.
But I would guess that's why they didn't want to do that. No, Luka wanted a big. That's what he said. That's what he's always wanted because he can't get himself open without a screen.
I wonder if there's a world where they could have gotten Jalen and Walker instead of Austin and Walker. But probably not. They probably just didn't have the ammo.
Or want the ego.
Yeah, or maybe not.
I mean, Jaylen Brown made it clear that he wanted to be the number one dude on whatever team he's on. Mm-hmm. I mean, Jason Tatum's really good. So if you're not going to take a back seat to Jason Tatum, are you going to take a back seat to anybody?
Probably not.
I don't know if I'm signing up for that if I'm the Lakers.
Yeah, that's fair.
Or Luka for that matter. But, hey, I don't know if I'm signing up for that if I'm Philly. But Philly did it, probably because they got him for a steal.
Yeah, they got him for nothing.
They got rid of one of their headaches for a better player, and it only cost them 2 first-round picks.
They were going to have to trade a first to get off of Paul George anyways.
No, that's a great point. Yeah.
That was going to cost them
honestly, that's a great point. I cannot believe he has that contract. We were looking at that contract yesterday, and it is so stupid. Daryl Morey is the worst.
2 years, $110 million left on the Paul George deal. And what's crazy is that's the same thing Trae Young makes. But Trae has 4 years left.
Okay,
it's amazing the deals that got handed out.
Speaking of Locke, he came on. He said, "No, listen, these front offices are full of smart men and women." I would argue the contrary. I don't think I will tell you. I don't automatically assume front offices in the NBA are smart because they're front offices in the NBA. Case in point, Daryl Morey has made a career out of being a below average GM and somehow managed to stay around for 20 years.
I fall into both categories where the more I've talked to front offices, the more I understand how weird things happen. But I also think there are still clearly people who get to a spot of desperation and act desperately because there's a somewhat finite amount of assets out there you can go choose from, and so they end up making bad decisions.
Also, talking about David Locke and his conversation with us, I don't think there's any evidence out there that Brad Stevens has any idea what he's doing. And David said that if the rock star breakup is happening, that's the front office's job to smooth that over. Mm-hmm. That's literally their job. That's what David was saying. And he is totally right. So if the situation with Jaylen Brown was so bad that you basically had to trade him for nothing, that's on Brad Stevens. Locke called it maybe as bad as the Luka Doncic trade. Mm-hmm. That's on the front office. I totally agree. I'm not convinced he knows what he's doing at all.
Yeah. And if the front office doesn't know how to do it, ideally you have a coach that does. Well, you hired the coach. You know, like I get that the Ime Udoka stuff fell apart underneath, their feet, and they weren't prepared for that.
Yikes.
But they did go out and pick Joe Mazzulla. Now, to Joe's credit, he won a title and
he's
he won
been pretty
Coach of
good
the Year this year, but he may not be the guy who knows how to mend some of these fences, which is also part of the job. If that's what the job requires, that's what you have to do.
You have to do it.
And he may not be able to do it. And as a result, if he can't do that, you end up trading Jaylen Brown for Paul George. Uh-huh. That's a problem. Jerry Sloan, we talk about the Zen Master a lot, Phil Jackson, how good of a job he did. Jerry Sloan kept a lid on Karl Malone for 18 years.
Uh-huh.
It's crazy. Karl is a lunatic. Now, and I'm not even talking about before he gets to the Jazz. I mean, like, calling radio stations, wanting people fired, wanting out because they signed certain players, wanting out because they didn't sign certain players. And Jerry Sloan found a way to, once training camp started, get everyone pulling in the right direction. Jerry was actually really good handling those personalities as well.
So was Larry Miller. He deserves credit for that one, too.
But that's the organization. It's the organization doing a good job with some of those things.
Karl had a radio show in L.A. blasting the Jazz every single day, including saying he would never play for the Jazz again.
Mm-hmm.
And Larry Miller just said, you know what? This is just Carl doing what Carl does. He'll
Right.
come back home. And 10 minutes later, Carl's like, I just love the Jazz.
He's weeping.
Just love the Jazz so much.
Yeah.
I mean, even that's a strategy, right? You,
Absolutely.
You know your guy. You know what you got to do.
Yeah. Could the Celtics have just let Jalen air it out, get it all out of his system, and then 2 months from now come back and say, hey, we're really happy you're here. We really like you. Come on
Apparently
back.
not.
Yeah, they couldn't. They didn't know how to do it.
All right, more next. 4 o'clock hour straight ahead. 97.5 VKSL Sports Zone.